Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Paul Hall and The Plain Truth in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
Hello. What
Hello. Hello, hello. Less than enthusiastic hellos from Discord.
Discord is Discord.
Any signs of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curvature?
Not from Discord. That explains the silence.
Nope.
I don't think anyone can hear me.
No one can hear me.
Hello.
Hello, Arwin.
Oh,
You talking to me? Is it storming in the background?
It might be me.
Right. Sounds really nice. Fresh.
I don't know what you're on about.
I'm cooking up here, serious.
Oh, yes, it's hot. It's very hot.
Yes, it's hot.
Oh, lots of feedback from somebody in Discord. Please turn down your speakers. Right, moving on. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
How about hurricanes?
What about them? That's not axial
They're
rotation.
very cool and refreshing. Sorry.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
That's what I always say when I'm hot and steamy. Boy, what I wouldn't give for a nice hurricane right now.
Okay.
Well, this is a different Friday, Nathan.
do you mean if there's any scientific evidence of motion?
Scientific evidence of motion. Do you need to scientifically validate that things move? I don't think so.
Motion is motion.
Axial rotation. We're talking about Earth spinning. Earth spinning, not hurricanes. Not things moving generally. Earth with an axis rotating. Any evidence of that?
Nope.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Definitely over there.
Definitely not.
Say again, Rebel?
The mic is muffled.
Say again, Rebel?
No, I was saying definitely no evidence to the distance of the sun. We don't know what the sun is and how big it is.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
The reification fallacy that is gravity.
Hmm.
Nary a
As
bit.
in mass, attractor mass? No.
Yeah, that's 105 years out of date, Rebel. But no, you're right. No, there isn't. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Oh, yeah, I got that one. Movie, The Core. It's all there, buddy. It's the truth. They've been down there. They made the movie. You've seen it?
Yeah.
Just no. On so many levels, no.
No, that's a true statement because
You haven't seen the movie Core?
Why is there an echo?
Hold on, Rebel. Say again, 10th man.
Say that again.
Say again, 10th man. We did hear you.
Okay, no, there's a terrible echo coming each time I talk. It's gone now. So yeah, that's true about the Core because the studio next door is the NASA movie studio. So yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, we need to harvest those giant crystal caves, man.
Do we?
Yeah. I want an amethyst as large as a house.
Do you?
Yeah. I'll build my house in it. How about that?
Okay, well, at least it's got a practical purpose. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Is it even possible?
Oh, I had a whole discussion about that in my early bird show in the last 20 minutes about dark matter, and there was still a baller in there that actually thought that there was some kind of observational evidence for it to exist. Ugh. It's terrible.
Have you guys seen Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about dark matter? Or the thing they know nothing about and calling it a Fred or something? Something ridiculous like that. Did you see it?
Well, in my chat, a baller was suggesting to me that they still had to discover the phenomena. That just cracked me up.
A phenomena is something that's occurred in nature that you go, I wonder what caused that. So it's not a case of, I wonder if we'll have something to wonder about what is going to cause it. No, it's not like that. It's just see something in nature that you want to figure out what caused that thing in nature.
Right. Until it is perceived, it can't be a phenomena. Because the perception...
Right. Exactly. Yeah, not seeing it kind of defies what a phenomenon would be.
Exactly.
Yeah, isn't that the longest standing problem in astrophysics?
Oh no, they've got plenty of phenomenon to observe in astrophysics. In fact, that's all they've got.
No, somebody mentioned dark matter. And
dark matter, what's that?
Can I ask a question? Is there dark matter in nature?
Well, that's what they're trying to invent on the spot when they realize they don't have enough so-called gravity, right?
Yeah, the gravity shortage is terrible, man.
Hold on, what's
We don't know what it is yet, so yeah, there's a shortage.
Oh, is that the answer to my question I was going to ask? I was going to say, what's dark matter again?
They don't qualify. I don't know. Something.
Do we know?
Something they call Fred. They don't know what it is. That's why they call it dark.
It's pseudoscience.
It's literally saying we don't know what it is, but to make it sound sciencey, they call it dark matter.
I see. We work on the really is level here, though.
Right. No, I was pointing out the what they're saying.
I'm not shooting the messenger, Rebel. Don't take it personally. It's all good.
I have a question.
I'm a little sensitive this morning.
That's okay. I know you're a very delicate flower, aren't you, Rebel?
Nice one, Rebel.
Right. Now we're done with the snowflake. What was it you wanted to add, Neil?
What's the plural? Phenomena or phenomenon?
Phenomenon is singular. Phenomena is plural. So singular, if you're doing an experiment, you'll be dealing with a phenomenon.
Phenomena.
I get it wrong all the time, though. When I'm speaking fast, Paula pulls me up on it all the time. Not my Paula, Bible literalist Paula. Will be like, keep mixing them up, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
So
I do it too.
is
Still.
plural.
Yeah, a phenomenon is singular.
I got you.
Is there a phenomena with an S?
Phenomena.
No. So
No S then.
multiple phenomena or a phenomenon.
So you can't say multiple phenomenas.
That's a lot
Phenomena.
Oh god, this is going to get tedious fast.
It already is.
Anyway,
God,
moving on.
We got a sensitive panel here. Be nice.
No, so back to the movie core.
Oh god.
What
Oh
I
god.
found
Nice.
Come on, Rebel.
in the
Get it out.
movie, they were talking about what science is. The cool scientists, and they're talking about what science is, and they basically said outright in the movie, like as a matter of fact, science, all the science is just the best guess. That's all it is. And I couldn't believe my ears. I'm like, what?
I remember that.
Yeah, that's kind of what let's just call it like it is. That's what Becky said. Similar.
I was just going to say that.
So that just
So-
Right.
there's a stage in the method that does involve a certain degree of guesswork. So the guess is more accurately described as a supposition. So it's your supposition, which is something that's yet to be validated, that X causes Y. But in the method, you've also got the complete contrasting hypothesis, which is your null, which is if X not Y, which is the sort of default position, if you will. Further to that, you're never going to test that default position. The default position being that you're not going to cause the effect with your assumption. So 9 times out of 10, for the sake of this discussion, you're going to say, I think X causes Y. You're going to vary X and not cause Y, validating your null, which is what lends the empiricism to the method. But it only has that empirical nature upon validation of a hypothesis, or the actualization of a hypothesis, which is to say you test your hypothesis. Now that testing procedure is also known as experimentation. In other words, upon experimentation, you will either validate your supposition, your best guess, as being correct, or you vary your supposition, your presumed cause, and it doesn't cause the effect, and you validate your null as it not being the cause. But at the end of the process, your supposition is either validated or invalidated. So no, science is definitely not about your best guess. That's what pseudo-scientists say. So juxtapose what I've just detailed with somebody who says, I've seen a light in the sky. My best guess is that's caused by blah, 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 blah. Make it up as I go along, and that's called science. Well, that typifies the pseudo-science culture that we actually live in. Science is very narrow. It's empirical. It establishes a cause of effect. If you guess correctly and validate your guess, making it an empirical, validated cause of an effect. Or you don't, in which case you don't. You validate your null. It didn't cause the effect. But the only guesswork is the presumption of cause prior to validation with hypothesis tests. That would be experimentation. So total nonsense by the pseudoscientists that are astrophysicists, cosmologists, and astronomers.
So the question that
Well
I would pose is, again, when did that switch happen in the scientific community? When did the first person say and consensus agree science doesn't prove anything?
That's not a scientific statement. That's the statement of a pseudoscientist. So pseudoscience has been long defined, and it's obviously defined because there's been plenty of people who have realised the power of the suggestion of empiricism. So therefore, pseudoscience becomes quickly defined as that which is not science, but is claimed to be exactly that. So the pseudoscience culture is merely somebody appreciating that at a base level, we were all taught in 5th grade the empirical nature of the scientific method and what it produces. Well, if you can take that word and just say, my Pirelli tyres tested better when I compared them to 2 other brands, therefore I've scientifically validated that the Pirellis are better, that's a really good way of selling something, because what you hear instinctively, because we've all been taught it, is that something's been empirically proven, when nothing could be further from the truth. There's no phenomena to study with tyres, they're man-made things. Anyway.
Right, I know, but I'm sorry. Just real quick again. My point is though is that when did the last scientist die? Right, the last guy who says science proves things. When did he die? And then the pseudoscience step up and then rewrite history and say science is not about proving things. That's what my question is.
But they didn't.
Hold on.
They
Never.
That's easy to answer.
Never. That hasn't happened.
Slide, please. They didn't. They didn't. They're
Right,
still
I can
there. There's
answer
still
that.
some scientists out there. It's just that these people and their department that has basically created these branches of pseudoscience, starting in the schools, right, lobbying it somehow. I don't know how they did it through government. And yeah, they just create their own version. They're like trying to start over, like, oh, we're going to modernize it now, and then everybody can work on that. So the old stuff is still there. There are probably some really hardcore old scientists out there. They're just not getting the attention.
You're kind of
I can
asking.
answer
Probably don't even want to try it out.
By analogy, Travis, you're saying when was the first? Hold on one second. You're saying you're by comparison saying when was the first odometer reversed in a car, and when did it stop being accurate odometer readings in cars? Well, by comparison, when did it stop being science? Well, never. Science isn't the men who perform the method. It's just the method. And the method's still being utilised to this day. It's still the same empirical method. And it still advances society and humanity on a fairly regular basis. So no, science never stopped. But from day one, the moment somebody recognises that if you can utilise a tool that has the suggestion of empiricism, you can imply that you have said empiricism when you use the words of science, like experiment, like theory. Now, often they've also got colloquial counterparts. Theory has got the scientific meaning, that which has been established by scientific validity, being put together with other things that have been established with scientific validity to form an overall picture called a scientific theory, backed by experimental validity. Very specific. That's a scientific theory. Well, then you get the theory of gravity. That's not a scientific theory. They've just taken this word, imposed it on a load of pseudoscience to make the reader think that this is empirically proven, when it, again, couldn't be any further from the truth. So it's a hijacking of terminology by people who require empiricism but have none. It doesn't change the method. And the men who do this are either people who are just performing the method, accurately described as scientists, or people who aren't, but would love to have the empiricism that method offers, so they call themselves scientists, and then offer you a just-so story. But when did that happen? The moment people recognise the power of an empirical method.
This is your anti-assertions, by the way.
Say that again?
Nathan is making empty assertions that things are not proven, because there's claimed to be evidence. Evidence claimed, and you need to show the problems, the inherent logical contradictions in that claimed evidence, dispute that evidence. Assertions which are presented with other evidence, which is what Nathan is doing here, can be dismissed without evidence.
But like the one you've just made. You've given no example, no qualification, you've just made a baseless assertion. That's what you've just done. You're projecting, mate. That's what you've just done.
I've done the same thing you did.
So you've made a baseless assertion without qualification. I haven't done that. I've described very succinctly and concisely the scientific method and the people who hijack it and call just-so stories based on an observation perhaps of a phenomenon that they haven't validated scientifically with cause. I've described that. That's not some sort of word salad. That's very concise and accurate. Unlike your statement.
Nathan made no claims here.
Not rationally back up any of your assertions.
Sorry, you're just going to spew the same baseless assertion that I haven't said anything of substance again, because that's basically the same exact baseless assertion you're projecting onto me. It's fairly pathetic, mate. I don't need to hear a second rendition of you telling me what Nathan just said was completely baseless. It had nothing. It didn't back with it. You don't need to hear that twice. That's a baseless assertion.
You're
roboting crazy, man.
It's your misunderstanding. Your inability to understand it is not a valid reason against it.
Oh, you don't understand. Is that all you got?
Yeah, basically.
Really?
Long and short
Nathan
of it.
didn't make any assertions, dumbass.
Oh, I got much more,
This is
but
all
you
this
wouldn't
guy
understand.
does.
Give him a
This is
second.
his tactic.
Everyone stop interrupting this pickle dude. Just do you want to qualify your statement?
What statement? That you have made assertions that something does not have evidence without showing why the claimed evidence is not actual evidence.
What's the something? Be specific.
Specific. You have claimed that gravity does not have any evidence.
Those words
You
crossed
said
my lips.
it's
I said
baseless-
no scientific
baseless
evidence.
assumption.
Oh,
Baseless
God.
theory.
Let me know when you're
That's
done,
what
mate.
you've said.
Let me know when you're done.
That's what you've said, right?
No.
It's undeniable that.
Sorry, no.
public
Did you not
knowledge-
hear me say no? Maybe
Public
continue talking indefinitely. No, that is not what I said. There is no scientific evidence for gravity. We have been asking this question for years. It gets repeated at the beginning of every single live show. Any scientific evidence of gravity? On this show, we had Travis in a high-pitched comedic voice. Scientific evidence of what? So while you talk through me, asshole, while you talk through me, I'll point out that you are wrong. You're going to get removed if you keep talking through me. If you keep talking through me, you're going to get removed, Pickle. Right? I'm explaining that you're wrong. No. We specifically detail the type of evidence we are requiring. That would be scientific evidence. So no.
You've just said this. There's no scientific evidence for gravity.
That's correct.
Okay? That's what you just said.
Yes, that's correct.
Undeniable. Okay, yeah. It's undeniable that the public narration is that they're undeniable. They claim to have.
Breaking up, Pickle. What's your scientific evidence for gravity?
Claim to have.
Pickle
You have
saying
not
somebody's claiming
that
to have
evidence that they
scientific
claim
evidence
they
of
have.
gravity.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to establish with him. He's breaking
Just
up and he won't
asserted
shut up either.
it's just
He's just got
theoretical
verbal
to find
diarrhea
out
with his breaking up, crap mic, crap connection.
they
God,
claim
shut
are
up.
not theoretical,
Pickle, shut up!
not being
Shut up!
Get back
just
in
give
your
us your
jar and
evidence.
put a lid on it,
Yeah,
Pickle.
you got constant verbal diarrhea. What's your scientific evidence of gravity? If my statement's false, you can only disprove it one way, and that would be by providing some scientific evidence for this gravity thing. Go ahead. Feel free to prove me wrong by providing scientific evidence of this nonsense.
refuse to engage what I'm actually saying.
Dude, you've been asked for scientific evidence. You claiming Nathan is wrong. Prove it. What is scientific evidence of gravity? Don't just spew the verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
Stay on point, buddy.
He won't
We
give it
agree.
because he knows it'll get picked apart.
We agree. In public narration, there's claimed to be science. We agree or disagree? We agree that in public narration there's claimed to be scientific evidence for gravity.
Okay, well, give it us.
You-
What's the scientific evidence? Give it us. If there's claimed to be by public
We-
consensus,
we
you're
agree-
talking
we
through me
agree-
again, Pickle. Aren't you? Yeah?
I know that you are
Stop
asking for evidence,
talking. I'm
But-
responding. Right, last chance. If when I respond to you in the next part of this discourse, you talk through my reply, I'm going to kick you out. Now, according to you, public consensus says the scientific evidence. Well, that's wonderful. Let's hear it. Let's see it. Give it us.
I'm asking if we agree on that or not. If that is the public narration.
It's not an agree, disagree situation. Either there is or there isn't scientific evidence. I say there is not. To prove the contrapositive, you need to provide scientific evidence. So either provide it, and there he goes. Goodbye, you can't take part in a reasonable discussion. Because I'm responding to him, he's talking through me. Now, the fact is, I'll summarise, there is no scientific evidence of gravity. All this man had to back that nonsense, which doesn't exist, was to say, well, consensus suggests that we do have evidence for it. Well, that's wonderful. Let's see the scientific evidence for it. No, what I'll get is constantly talked through, because there isn't any.
Get back in your jar and put a lid on it.
Did he say
when you
downward
have-
acceleration?
I don't care what he said. He talked through me when he said it, if he said it at all, on account of the fact that I was responding to him, and he doesn't like me highlighting for the third or fourth time that in order to disprove me saying there's no scientific evidence for this thing called gravity, you just need to provide some to disprove that statement. Now, given that it's his claim, it's his gravity, and it's him the burden of proof is on to prove, then he needs to provide it if he's going to disclaim that I'm wrong. I'm not. There isn't any scientific evidence for gravity. Fact. It's pseudo-Ramonian force space. It's in the title.
By the way, that was Ad Masto. That's not Pickle Prick, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's not
upping the
Pickle.
count.
Was that not pickle?
He was getting all sour, but there was no sweetness to it.
No, I was going to say, with a name like Pickle, it's obvious he was going to make a big dill out of nothing.
Big deal.
So he's
but he
referring
has to
basically
laugh
to
and I
popular
don't.
opinion, right?
It's
My
true. The
understanding
worse
is
the
correct.
puns are, the more funny they are.
That's usually how it goes. It's got to be pretty bad to be pretty funny.
Very confusing, guys.
Yeah.
He made a big deal of it. Big deal? Big dill? No? Okay.
No, it's like one of the herbs that is in the juice.
Right. Oh, God. If you have to dissect it when it's a bad pun, it's definitely no longer funny. Thank you for sucking all the fun out of this joke, Arwin.
You're welcome.
Dill is a brand name for pickle.
So Nathan, if let's say a firm, a corporation, has a science department and maybe something akin to a lab, upon the door it says science department, and every dude that walks through there, in their profile it says they work in the science department, so naturally they call themselves scientists. So one of those dudes will take your example of Pirelli tires, takes the car for a spin and tests different tires and determines that the Pirelli tire is better. Now, he would call it a scientific proof because he's a scientist working in the science department. That's the popular belief, popular view of what science is, right?
Right. Well, no. Yes and no. Yes, that's the popular belief. No, it's not science. That's measuring things. You can measure how long the rubber lasts, how well it sticks to the ground, how much water it displaces with the tread depths. You can make comparisons and compare the numbers of these measurements. Well, what are measurements? Mathematics. You can say it's measurably better. The Michelins are measurably better than the Pirellis. But that's not what they say. They say this is science. We've tested it. Tested it meaning measure it.
Right, so they're equivocating testing with science.
Yeah, people do it all the time. So that Thunderfoot guy that I keep mentioning, he does it all the time. Somebody will make a claim about something. I'll use the same example I've used in the last couple of examples. About a tumble dryer that's using vacuum power to make the clothes dry quicker. Well, he can then measure how much a vacuum can take away the moisture from a piece of clothes with a vacuum chamber, and he can measure the amount. Well, is that science? Oh no, of course it's not. It's maths. With a practical example of what you are measuring. It's still not science. It's not establishing the cause of a natural phenomena. That's science. Science is very narrow. But these people will call themselves scientists. Thunderfoot, to lend credence to that which he has measured, calls himself a scientist. Now, at some stage, has he applied the scientific method to something? Yeah, like Anthony Riley has. Now, could Anthony Riley now call himself a scientist? Yes, he could.
Yeah, I mean, that's a steep hill to climb, to trying to work against that popular notion of what science is, because everybody I speak to inevitably equates science with testing or observing or measuring. It's like that's where every of my arguments get stuck, is trying to uncover that hole.
Yeah. It's for those of them who have discovered that this word, science, and various other sciencey words that are associated, offer quite a high degree of power in terms of convincibility if you're selling a product.
Well, do we find Pirelli tires naturally occurring in nature?
No.
Well, then you can't use the scientific method.
Yeah, what's the cause of Pirelli tyres? A man making them. Yeah. Synthetic falls outside of the remit of science because you find the cause pretty quickly when you're dealing with anything synthetic. A man made it.
Yeah,
Not according to Brendan.
it took me a while to wrap my head around what science actually is. You know, it took a few shows, and I've been with you a long time. And then I can't, that me sticking with you for like hours at a time, right? Trying to talk to anyone else and conveying that within the matter of seconds, it's impossible. Like you can say that, but it's just not going to register. It's just not registering, period.
I talked to two guys yesterday when they were working on the power poles here, and it lasted over an hour, and the word science came up. And I said, do you know the scientific method? And they said, well, I remember learning it, but can you tell us again? So I went through just what Nathan said, and they got it right away. So they weren't trolls, though. They were normies who were back and forth with me, and they were interested in my viewpoint, and I was interested in their viewpoints. So it was a very good discussion. And they left saying, gosh, you gave us a lot to think about. This is really good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, we don't get that too often on the show from anybody.
I wonder why.
No, lucky you.
What do you mean, I wonder why? You're the epitome of why, because you come here angry.
Hold on, let him answer. Hold on, 10th man. You asked him a direct question. You've got to let him answer.
I don't know what you want me to say. I wonder why that is.
That's why I said it for you, because you're a coward. Going by your experience, you've given us over the last 2 months.
I do actually wonder why that is.
Well, wonderful. Let's enter a discussion and let's see how it turns out. Are you ready?
Okay.
So what is the scientific method? Can you tell us?
Is this obfuscation, is it?
You just proved my point
hold
with
on.
one question.
I have to intervene immediately. We're talking about the scientific method. He asks a question specifically related to the subject matter, which is the scientific method, and your immediate response is this an obfuscation? What a question that could not be more on point. No, definitely not an obfuscation, no.
I asked him, I wonder why you don't get more converts or whatever he said.
Well, 2 out of 2 is not a bad ratio. I got 2 converts talking to 2 people. What's your ratio?
Well, what's that got to do with the scientific method?
Why'd you ask the question about more converts then?
I said, I wonder why. Isn't that like, do I have to spell it out for you? What my question?
I asked you about the scientific method. You said I was obfuscating. Then you said converts. And I said I got 2 out of 2. And then you said, what does that got to do with the scientific method? Because you changed the current topic to converts, and you're blaming me for it.
I asked you a question. I wonder why you don't get more converts, or to that effect. And then you started going on about the scientific method. What's that got to do with it?
No.
That is not true, buddy.
When you said, hang on, I got this. When you said converts, I immediately told you I talked to 2 and I got 2 out of 2. I didn't go on to scientific method. I saw you changing the parameters right there. Why didn't you stay on the scientific method?
This is crazy, this, you know. Or it was a passing comment, and you jumped on it. Nathan got the hump, you got the hump, and then you started asking me about the scientific method. This is crazy.
That's what we're talking about.
You are crazy.
That's just what we're talking about at the moment. Are you not paying attention to the last 20 minutes of conversation? Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, why did you bring up the red herring then?
I think 10th man did that. I just questioned it in a passing comment.
This guy.
What did you
You need to
question?
go back to that
Okay,
building.
let's just deal with that then. Thank you. That's really interesting that you wonder about that. Thank you.
Thanks,
You know,
Nathan.
Yeah, so I have a question. Hold on, I have a
the
question
show
about
into a
the
10-minute
turnover
direction.
rate. Hold on, real quick. So, if you think that we ought to have converts, what's the conversion rate? How fast does it take for a convert to happen? Is it immediate?
That's a
So
good
when I walk up to a person and I say, "Hey, bro, did you know the Earth is flat?" Is he going to believe me right then?
Why are
Or
we
if
playing
I
into
have a
red
10,
herring?
hold on. If I have a 10-minute conversation with him, at the end of that 10 minutes, do you think he's going to be a convert? Is it going to take 20 minutes? How long? You know, okay, so am I supposed to take this guy's number down and say, "Hey, when you believe that the Earth is flat, call me back because I'm taking a poll." Like, so if you want to say, yeah, it's directed at you because you said, why don't you have many converts? What is your scale for how fast a convert should become a convert? Right? Nobody's taken records of this stuff.
I don't have a scale, whoever you are.
Hold on. Excuse me?
I said, I don't have a scale, whoever you are.
Why are you asking the question? You're asking a question because you have an expectation that we should have converts.
Right.
Where
right,
is
genius.
Right.
It's called a passing comment that was jumped on by a 10th man, and then Nathan got the hump. And then we started talking about the scientific method. Now you're waffling on about time limits. What the hell is this turning into?
Do you understand that 10th man was talking to the guys that you call converts about the scientific method? Like, are you keeping up with this at all?
No, he isn't Chocolate. He's not keeping up with
Are
the
you
conversation.
keeping up?
It's just explained. Then we started talking about the scientific method like it came out of the blue. No, it didn't. We were talking about it for 20 straight minutes.
No, he
you
asked
piped
me
up.
what
Now
the
you're interrupting me, of
scientific
course.
method is.
Of course, now he's
wasn't even about
interrupting
that.
me. Now it's his time to talk because I'm mid-sentence, right? Yeah, Nathan got the hump because we're dealing with assholes. That would be you talking through me while I'm explaining and summarising that no. We spent 20 minutes talking about the scientific method. You piped up with your passing comment that was really relevant for everyone to hear and then got all shock and horror when we started talking about the scientific method for the first time in your mind. No, mate, you just can't keep up with the conversation. Maybe sit down and shut up.
Right, can I just have one last
Maybe
response to
sit
that?
down and shut up. Subtle enough for you?
Asshole, Nathan, not asshole.
Sit
English.
down and shut up. Your passing comment added nothing. You can't keep up with the conversation. You are essentially useless. Now, I was subtle initially. Subtle.
Nathan,
sit down, shut up, idiot.
Asshole,
now I'm not being subtle. Now, if you keep talking through me, I'll have to shut you up because I'm telling you, you're stupid. You offer nothing. You can't even keep up with the conversation. You thought it was a shock when we started talking about the scientific method. You are useless. Therefore, you should and will sit down and shut up.
It's
he can't sit down and shut up. He can't take a subtle hint that he's useless. He must keep talking indefinitely. We're never going to get to move back onto the relevant subject, which would be the scientific method, and the fact that Muppets think it's useful for proving tyres are better than one another. And that same exact principle has been used to punt the pseudoscience of a heliocentric world with lights in the sky being given just so stories by people like Becky who haven't got any science. That was the conversation for 20 minutes till this moron decided to interject with his complete idiocy. And then never shut up. This is what we deal with here at Flat Earth Debate. Complete idiots. We're talking about the scientific method. He wants to talk about his feelings about the conversion rate for stats he hasn't got on how many people come to Flat Earth. That's what he wants us to consider his musings on. And when it's highlighted that he's got nothing to have musings about by Travis, totally ignored. Oh, it's just a passing comment. Well, sit down and shut up then. And they wonder why I get annoyed with them. Because they're idiots, that's why.
It was a backhanded smack. In other words, we ain't going nowhere. That's the way I took it.
Yeah, it's like stabbing from the dark.
It's projection. Why have I not been converted yet, is what he's really saying. 90% of what these people do here is project their garbage onto us.
Yeah, but he chooses to be here every day.
So it's
so
actually
maybe
very
he's on his
simple.
path
Like,
of his own conversion, wondering why it hasn't kicked in yet. Because he seems to be triggered by this show, but yet here he is every day.
Yeah.
So
he
what's your
wants to
problem?
know when it will be safe because everybody else thinks it. That's what he's essentially detailing. When everyone else understands that the Earth is flat, it'll be safe for me to understand it. So why haven't I been converted yet? It's just projection. All they do is project onto us. It's like, no, mate, we don't... Oh, I can't speak for everyone. I don't care if you're converted or not. And if 200 million people get converted, I couldn't care less. I understand the nature of reality. I understand the deception that it's taken to get me to the point that I thought I was on a ball. I understand all that. Further to that, if you don't understand it, or you're concerned that not everyone else thinks it, well, then you haven't got any self-confidence. You're worried that other people might think less of you, because they will. As soon as you appreciate the obvious and observable flat nature of our reality, people will ridicule you for it. No wonder he's hesitant. No wonder he wants a greater conversion rate. He's here in the bargaining stage. Does he want to move on to the depression and loss? No. No, he wants to deny. Well, hardly anybody else is picking up on this.
You had the spot on, Nathan. It does sound like bargaining stage.
Meanwhile, people are picking up on this every day. It's pretty funny.
What's this stat about Brazil? I keep seeing pop up in all the flat Earth feeds that I've been subscribed to without being asked. the people just subscribe me to this stuff. I'm like, some TV poll.
There was,
Yeah, they took a poll.
They took a poll during the live show in the Brazil. I don't know what city it was in. Whether the Earth was flat or round, and flat Earth was like 60-some%, and round Earth was
62 to 38.
38, yeah.
Okay, so they did a poll. They did a poll: is Earth flat or a sphere? And it came back 62% of people, the consensus opinion, basically, think it's flat in Brazil, according to this TV poll. Wow.
Correct.
Actually, this is so beautiful. It's a dovetailing to the comment. I wonder why. That's beautiful.
Maybe he needs to keep up to date. Flat Earth debate.
I do remember.
Well, let me tell you how it ended. So I don't know if these two gentlemen, which I had a wonderful time with, will be flat earthers at the end of the day, but they were so interested that I told them that I was on the show 5 days a week as a panel member, and they wanted the link. So I sent them the link to your show, Nathan. So step one, step two probably got done, and the other steps will happen on their own as they ask good questions. So I think that was a pretty good time.
I don't know if anyone's been around long enough to remember some of the really old Flat Earth videos for us in this wave of Flat Earth, so sort of 2014-ish. Lots of the Earth is flat graffiti was from South America. Now, I didn't know it was something that had been prevalent there enough for people to be going and graffitiing it on walls, but I certainly knew that the origin of this material was from South America. But I just certainly didn't know that if you did a TV poll, I mean, not that that means a great deal. Somebody recently did a similar thing where they exposed some gamer that had asked the same question with a very young audience, and it came back with a very flat earth skewed stat in reply. Well, okay, you can read something into that, but a national TV doing a poll, how do you know any of the legitimacy of the poll itself? I should be praising it. I'm just questioning it. I'm just being skeptical, that's all. Rather than going, well, hey, look, loads of people in Brazil do think that. Well, how do you know that? Has anybody checked any of these facts whatsoever?
Usually, I think when somebody questions the conversion rate of flat Earths, they are mainstream people themselves, right? So it cannot be more mainstream than a TV show. We can just simply refer to that, and that would be good enough for them.
I see what you're saying is by that person's standards, when TV says most people think Earth's flat, that's a good enough standard for that guy. Right, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I want to flip the question back. When you have a captive audience, which means school systems, TV, movies, what's the heliocentric conversion rate? Wouldn't that be pretty high when you have a captive audience, no one thinking for themselves?
100%.
So what's the point of the conversion?
100%, right? They put you through second grade. You learn about the. It's a shame Bev's just sent a message. It's a shame he's not on the panel. But yeah, this is stuff that they indoctrinate into you when you're so young. You're never going to question it again, and then they just reinforce it with subliminal programming for the rest of your natural born life.
And I would have an issue with the word conversion because it's not like you have an alternative view even at that age. It's just
precisely. What alternative do you have? You get your mobile with the planets, you get told about how the solar system works. Normally your next of kin will be pointing out how it works with their finger up into the sky, telling you about the sky vacuum. So you're not offered any alternative. That is just how it is. That's why the fundies come here and are so accustomed to instinctively begging the question, well, we know it's a sphere because if the Earth's a sphere, blah, 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 therefore Earth's a sphere. That's what we get because you don't have an alternative.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people struggling to even visualize it, right? And that's the biggest part I think of a struggle is they can't even fathom it. They can't visualize it, so they just reject it up front. They can't even process it.
Yeah, they can't see the world beyond being a sphere. It's so ingrained.
Right.
But for me personally, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people on the panel who can relate to this, there was a period when you're like, cognitively, you're rewiring yourself. In other words, a lot of the axioms and paradigms that have been put upon you as just real, whether you like it or not, are still wired into your brain. And there is a certain period, certainly for me, where I'm like, hold on, that doesn't actually jive anymore. We're still doing it. I mean, the most recent example is atmosphere. Well, that's a contradiction in terms, an oxymoron. Atmo, air, sphere, shape. Air doesn't have a shape. It's an oxymoron. But that sort of verbiage, we just spew without even thinking about it. But that's what I mean by subliminally programming people to have this idea that was taught to you when you were of an age to just accept it as fact. So therefore, when you see the globes on billboards or the globe graphics on a lot of intros or in the background of a news station's broadcast, whatever it may be, that is subliminal programming. It's keeping the idea very much in the back of your mind without overtly putting it on the screen. Or in the case of the BBC, at the ident, back when I used to watch TV, they had a globe right at the beginning of every single ident. You're like, well, okay, it's pretty in your face, but it's still definitely subliminal programming. Well, that's how they keep it there. So therefore, when it comes to a debate, it's like, well, we already know the Earth's a sphere. What? Prove it's flat. So they get trained from day one to enter a debate with the immediate instinct to reverse the burden of proof and beg the question. It's genius, if you ask me. Got trained little worker ant army of people to train from birth to beg the question and reverse the burden of proof when someone asserts the contrary to what they understand to just be the way it is. The Earth just is a sphere. I just know it. Balls to bones, it just is a sphere. No, it isn't. You've never seen it. You can't go to space. Space is fake. There's no radius value. There's no geometric horizon, otherwise known as Earth curve. There's no Earth curve at the moment. That's what we're exposing. It's got to that level. There is no Earth curve. Doesn't exist. Your own side admit it. Only exists in maths. Well, when you're at that stage, you know, there's no cognitive wiring to be done for me. But you imagine Joe Normie coming here listening to that. It'd fry you. Completely fry your circuitry. That's why we see so many people in pain and they express it through anger or projection, more likely.
Check.
Hello.
Yeah. Why does it matter how many numbers we have? This isn't a cult. This is reality.
I don't care. Exactly, Babs. I don't care. If you leave here not converted to flat Earth, I couldn't care less. Fact. Earth is obviously and observably flat. I have recognised and appreciated that there's no evidence for a sphere. If you don't recognise that, go in peace. It doesn't affect me in the slightest. So yeah, I don't care. We're not a cult. I haven't got little minions that are coming to me for little answers about the world because I don't offer any. I debunk the nonsense that we were trained from birth with, but I don't offer any alternative. I've literally got nothing to offer. What can I tell you? I don't know what the sky is. I don't know what the lights in that sky are. That's it. I can tell you it's flat. That's about it.
How dare you say you don't know what anything is?
I don't. What do you know? Why is the sky blue, Neil?
I have no idea.
Nathan, that is so savage. You ripping off the worldview from people and then offering no alternatives. That's savage, man.
Really? So I got a
Yes.
great example recently. Great example that I'll use from this day till whenever. So again, back to Thunderfoot, hooray! So Thunderfoot is debunking a vacuum-powered tumble dryer. Does Thunderfoot have to demonstrate how it would be possible to efficiently dry clothes with a vacuum in order to debunk that vacuum product? Does he have to show it? Is it an outrage that Thunderfoot isn't producing a vacuum-powered dryer that's actually economical and can be sold to the public in lieu of the one he's debunking? Does he have to do that?
No.
So I can just take a giant steaming dump on heliocentrism and offer nothing at all.
Right. And it is savage. I'm not saying it's wrong. To most people's psyche, it's savage. They can't take it. They're gonna pepper us with questions, which they usually do. You know, what's there? Then what is the sun? And what are the meteors? And blah blah blah. Right? And you can honestly say, I don't know. Like, well, if you don't know, then how can you say that and that and that? Right? They can't fathom the idea that taking away what they thought a thing was in their understanding, offering no alternative instead is even a possibility for them to comprehend. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see that as savage,
the globe
though.
is a cult. That's why the Globers got excited when Seek Truth, Speak Truth, and Jose Gonzalez were welcomed back into the Brotherhood.
But you know what we're saying? Think about what we're telling the world.
Hold on, Neil. What do you mean? When a few flat earthers were welcomed back into the globe earth cult, there was high praise. Explain what that's significant.
Because it's a cult. They're trying to recruit as many members as possible. We don't get excited when we get new members, but they do.
Good morning,
what does that
Quantum
have to do
Eraser.
with anything, really?
Yeah,
No,
someone read out a
they-
post.
They only get excited for the members they thought they lost that seem to come back. They don't care about their new members because their new members is every baby that's born that's get taught this nonsense from birth.
Right.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
What's up,
Somebody
Tom?
recently read out a comment that was left on one of the videos that was about to start premiering, and it had words to the effect of, if you come back to the globe earth cult, fortune and fame and subscribers will all await you. And you're like, my God, I can't make this stuff up. They couldn't behave any more cult-like.
For real?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Oh my God. They're like it's so bad.
Hey,
they
can
need
I
incentives.
can I elbow my way in for a shameless plug?
It's going out live, so whatever it's for, you'll definitely have a proper plug for it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ball Busters tomorrow on Quantum Eraser Channel, 1 p.m. U.S. Central, 7 p.m. UK. We're gonna bash soundly into smithereens. Okay, one last time. We'll put this to bed.
Okay, I'll just reiterate that. So it's Be Here or Be Sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Standard for Ball Busters. Be Here or Be Sphere.
1 p.m. U.S. Central.
My bad. 1 p.m. US Central, 7 p.m. UK. Quantum Eraser channel. Ball Busters, Be Here or Be Sphere.
Would it soundly prove again that Earth is the size of a basketball?
No, that you could slobber incessantly and get away with it.
Soundly wants to live on a swamp planet.
Yeah, rub it in, QE. Rub it in.
What will we be covering? I say we. By we, I mean you. On Ball Busters with regards to Soundly. Is it Planet Orleans Parish?
No, we're far. We covered that in 2016. That's nonsense, man. We're going into new ground. We're gonna bust into new hedgerows.
Excellent. Alrighty then. So as we didn't round out the discussion.
Hey, I
on...
got it. Yeah. I got some news.
Oh,
Tomorrow, Ball Busters. We're gonna smash Sally into the smithereens.
Right on. So let's just
Is there an echo? Is there an echo chamber?
let's just round out the point that we never got to because of an annoying guest. Also, shout out to Cleary as it brings me back on topic. So pickle sounded rather quickly. Is that quickly? Quickly?
Quirkly. Quirkly, I think he's trying to say.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Cleary. Really appreciate your support. So, yeah, science is a method that's been hijacked by people who want to lend empiricism to their just so stories that may or may not have been preceded by a phenomenon that is observed in nature. Often not. Nevertheless, all science actually is the establishment of cause of an effect based on a hypothesis. That's what science is. The actualization of a hypothesis being an experiment, the validation of your assumed cause being the result you are hoping for, the validation of your null being what you often achieve if you don't guess correctly what caused the effect you observed in nature. That's what science actually is. Shout out to Retro Bill for the super chat. No words, just $15 US. Thank you very much for the super chat, Retro Bill. Just gives me money. Thank you very much.
Oh, another phenomena, just a sidetrack because I know you're getting ready to close out. Another phenomenon, they opened up the Arena Thunderdome over at 24/7 Discord, right? And every ballers was telling them, "Oh, it's about time. We can't wait to get a hold of QE because it come out of echo chambers," right? Of course, I was out there the first 2.5 years, and then I have ball busters that anyone can join. But I go over there for the past week and a half every evening. Guess what?
They all ran away.
I think the guess what was
They all
rhetorical,
ran
but
away under rocks?
I think the guess what was kind of rhetorical, but what?
It was rhetorical. Crickets.
What I said.
Did they crawl away under rocks?
Well, a couple people come in, yeah, but not the regulars, just a couple. But I think they send some, some troopers in. It didn't go well for them.
Can I ask a question?
You can. I'm just going to read out a couple of super chats before you do, and then your question will round out the show, Neil. So, I took off work and fishing to hear Soundly get demolished. Cooking a special meal. Shout out to Racky Life for the super chat. Also, another shout out, I think it was to Retro Bill. It was indeed. The leader of the Dodge cult is Jesus Chrysler. Very good. Thank you very much for the super chat, Retro Bill. Go ahead, Neil.
What time do you join that 24/7 arena, QE?
Mainly after dinner here, so sometimes about 6. I'll stay in there from 6 till 11.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Again, stay tuned if you're watching on one of the premiering streams. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!